everyone and welcome to the sewing tutorial. My name is Petra and I am the person behind the Cossy sewing patterns, and today I will be guiding you through the whole process of how to create the Nassau set. I actually named the Nassau set according to one of the islands in the Bahamas because it really reminded me of all the beautiful and clean beaches, and this is exactly what this set is about. It's super minimalistic, clean and comfy. And sometimes I just wear the shirt with some basic pants and it creates a casual outfit as well. Today, because we will be going through the entire process in a detail, I will show you the basic needs, how to put the pattern together, and we will go through each step of a sewing. And I really hope that you will be enjoying this pattern as much as I do and that we will have a great time while doing this. To start with, we will need a fabric. I'm recommending to use the muslin cotton. This type of fabric is very breathable and it might look like it's wrinkled. However, for this design it's a perfect fit and I think it looks beautiful with this fabric. Next, we'll need a thread in a similar color, measuring tape, pencil for the fabric, pins including a safety pin, scissors, 4 cm wide elastic band, iron, sewing machine, tape, and the sewing pattern. I will link below the website where you can download it from, and now I'll show you how to print the pattern and how to work with it. Once you download your pattern, you should receive 4 documents. One of them is the instruction material. You don't need to print this one, but I would recommend to read it anyway, as it should include all the essential information, including the size table. Next to that, there are 3 different available formats: A0, A4 and the US letter. Select the one that is most suitable for you. A0, unless you have a special printer, can be only printed in a copy shop. US letter format is mostly used in the US, and the A4 is the most common used, for instance, in the Europe. I'm printing mine in an A4. When printing the pattern, I would recommend to print the first page first and make sure that the scale is set to 100%. Once printed, measure the square and make sure that it has 5 cm or 2 inches. Then print the rest of the pages. Working with the pattern should be quite easy, as you don't need to cut the pages. Instead, we will be using the dotted lines as a guideline, as well as the indicators in each corner. The indicators should navigate us towards the next page. Look for matching numbers and letters and simply lay the paper on top of them directly on the dotted line. Continue the process until you run out of the paper. And then tape it together. Before you cut the pattern based on your size, there is one more thing that needs to be done. Make a measurement from your waist down and identify your desired length of the skirt. My desired length of the skirt is 97 cm. On the pattern itself, I already tried to predefine the final length of the skirt. This is calculated based on the full length of the pattern, minus the adjustments that we will do on the fabric during the sewing process. Just to make sure, add 1 or 2 cm to your desired final length, which for me would be 97 plus 1.5, which would equal 98.5 cm. We are adding the additional centimeter or 2 just in case you do the hemming on a fabric a little differently than I do. And it's always better to start with more, as we can make the skirt shorter, but it would be quite difficult to make it longer. Add the line with your measurement to the pattern or use some of the existing lines, and then continue with cutting the pattern. My size is size S, therefore I will be cutting the green dotted line. On the pattern pieces, you will notice an arrow. This arrow should run in parallel with the direction of the wave of the fabric, also known as the grain of the fabric. If you don't cut these pattern pieces along the grain of the fabric may stretch or warp once cut, and this isn't ideal. So cut your pieces out and make sure that the fabric is on fold and the fold part of the pattern matches the fold on the fabric. Pin the pattern and the fabric together before cutting. 1 centimeter of a sewing allowance is already included, so you can just cut it directly alongside the pattern. While cutting the pieces, you will also notice a small notch. Use the pencil to draw a small mark on your fabric to know where exactly the notch is. Once done, you should have 2 equal pieces of the shirt cut on fold and front and back piece for the skirt, also cut on fold. Let's start with the shirt. The fabric that we are using has 2 equal sides, which means there is no good or a bad side at this moment. And by the good side, I mean the side of the clothing that will be visible once you wear it. At this point, you can decide which one will be the good side and which one will be the bad, hidden one. Unless you are using a different kind of fabric which actually has 2 different sides. Nevertheless, because I will be referring to a good and a bad side quite often in this video, I will just mark with an X the bad side, so it is easier for you to follow me along. Start with telling you what we will need. As a next step, pin the underarm parts, starting from the notches all the way to the end of the sleeve, as well as the upper shoulder sections, starting from the neckline. We will now sew the pinned parts with a straight line stitching. If you are new to sewing, follow the instructions on your sewing machine manual on how to set up your sewing machine itself. Every sewing machine might be slightly different, but the essentials should be the same. From the stitching options, select the straight line stitching. Once everything is set, including your thread, put the pinned part under the needle and make sure that there is 1 centimeter of a sewing allowance in between the needle and the end of the fabric. Don't forget to do some back and front stitching on the beginning and also on the end, just to secure the seams and sew with a straight line. Repeat for all the pinned parts. Always start the sewing either at the notch mark, directly on the neckline, or optionally on the end of the sleeve. Now iron the seams open. I would recommend to always iron the seams open, as the final products then look much more professional and nicer. Now, before we overlock the seams, I would actually recommend to try the shirt on. And when trying, only focus on the bottom of the shirt, making sure that the opening fits you. Next, we overlock the previously ironed seams. Use your overlock machine if you have one. If not, just change the setting on your sewing machine to any of the zigzag options. Put the fabric under the needle and try to sew in a way that one of the zigs goes inside of the fabric and the other one slightly out. This is the final result. It is not as pretty as with the overlock machine, but it does the job, and nobody will see it anyway. We can continue with all the previously ironed seams. Now, on the bottom opening of the shirt, fold the fabric up approximately half a centimeter and then fold it again. This will ensure a nice and clean finish. And basically, we will just fold the entire opening like this. Next, we repeat the same on the neckline. Again, fold the fabric approximately half a centimeter and then fold it again. Lastly, we do the sleeves, again the same thing. If the folding is difficult, you can also use an iron and iron it in. This is how it looks like once it's pinned. We will now sew with a straight line stitching as close to the edge as possible. Starting with the neckline, put the pinned part under the needle close to the edge of the folded fabric and then start with the sewing. If it's difficult for you to go straight, just slow down as much as you need to feel comfortable. Repeat the same for all the pinned parts. For the bottom part, start at the notch and finish at the notch on the same side. Then repeat the same on the other side. And just like that, the top is done. Let's move on to the skirt. I have again marked the bed sides with an X. Starting with the back piece of the skirt, make sure that the bed side is facing us, and on the side of the skirt, fold the fabric approximately half a centimeter and then fold it again. Same as for the shirt, we are trying to accomplish a nice and clean finish, since the sides of the skirt will not be sewed together. Do this all the way from the top of the side till the very end. Once done, continue on the other side. For the front piece of the skirt, we will do the very same thing. With the bed side facing us, we fold the fabric twice all the way on both of the sides. This is how it looks like. Next, we will sew with a straight line, stitching the parts that we have just pinned as close to the edge as possible. Put the folded part under the needle and start sewing with a straight line. Don't forget to do some back and front stitching. Repeat the same for all the pinned parts. Lay down the back piece of the skirt with the good side facing us. Then grab the front piece and with the good side down and the bad side facing us, match the notches. Make sure that the front piece is positioned more or less in the middle. Add a small marks on the back piece and the marks should be right on the edge of the front piece. Now remove partially the front piece and fold the back piece directly on the marks that we just made. Put the front piece back and the pieces should now align nicely on top of each other. Now pin the front and back so they hold together. Now we will create a casing for the elastic on the top part of the skirt. This will be a finishing touch before we insert the elastic in. Fold the fabric approximately ½ centimeter and then fold it again. The second fold should be wide enough for the elastic to fit in and sew around. Since my elastic is 4 centimeters wide, I will be folding it approximately 4.3 centimeters. In a case it's difficult for you to work with the skirt parts, optionally you can as well sew the back and front piece together like this, and it might be easier for you to work with it. Nevertheless, continue with folding around the entire waist. Now, with a straight line stitching, we will be sewing all the way around as close to the edge as possible, and we will leave a small opening for the elastic to fit in. With the edge of the folded part under the needle, start with the sewing. On the sections where the back and front pieces overlap, just make sure that the parts are straight. Don't forget to leave an opening for the elastic. Next, take your 4 cm wide elastic and measure and cut a piece that sits comfortably around your waist. Again, add a little more to have some additional room for sewing the elastic together. It's always better to start with looser band instead of being too tight. Then take a safety pin and attach it to one of the ends of the elastic and use it to feed the elastic into the casing we just made. Make sure the elastic didn't twist on the way and stitch the two ends together like this. Now would be the time to try the skirt on. Make sure that the elastic is tight enough and also focus on the length of the skirt. Try to identify how much shorter the skirt should be. Then close the opening on the top. Just make sure that the elastic is not under the needle. As the last step, with the bed side facing us, fold the fabric up and then fold it again. In a case the skirt was too long, cut as much as you need before you fold it. Then sew with a straight line along the edge. And the project is now complete. I hope that you had fun while sewing, and I might see you at our next project. Have a wonderful day and thank you for watching.